mental chaos, lack of clarity, emotional overload. These are the things that I'm talking about today, and how writing can help you through these times and help you go from a mental war zone to peace and calm and having some direction in life. So yeah, this is the first 4 years ago I started journaling, and this is the first little notebook that I had that I carried everywhere I went. So I was getting sober. I was coming out of a really dark period of my life where my mind was complete chaos, ruminating thoughts, repetitive thoughts, regret, guilt, emotional, starting from scratch with my life. And having this in my hand, and having a pen, and I wish I had a pen with me, but I don't. And having a pen in my hand, and focusing on the paper and the writing, it actually, okay, it lessened my suffering to a great degree. So what did I write in here at the beginning? There's a lot of anger in here. When I started this journey, I would write, I hate everything. And that's where I was at that time. And maybe you are dealing with difficulty sorting your life out, or maybe you're on a loop of life where every day is the same, and you're like, why am I doing this? I want to do, maybe you're dealing with habitual habits that you're just trying to take care of, or change. Maybe it's food or a vice or a toxic relationship or just a relationship with somebody that isn't for your highest good. Or maybe you're trying to get some momentum going forward and you need some clarity. All of these things have come out in these journals. I probably have 12. I have more down here, a whole another stack of them, because it's a daily practice for me now. I start my day off with it, pen on paper. And at the beginning of this, I wrote a lot of negativity, and I was working through a lot of resentments and guilt and shame about what had happened in my life and where my life was at. And I could write it down and I could see it on the page. It was very beneficial for me to see it outside of here. That's a number one benefit. It's a brain dump, and when you can dump your brain, your mind, your thoughts on paper, you can find some mental clarity. You can start to recognize how cluttered your mind is and start unraveling it. Another thing that came out in the pages is emotional processing. Um, I had thoughts which created emotions, and the thoughts were repetitive. Therefore, the emotions were repetitive. I was stuck in a cycle of self pity and regret and grief and anger. And these these pieces of paper, these books, caught a lot of tears as I was processing, the breakdown of my marriage and the recovery from severe drug addiction. I was separated from my children for almost a year, and it was very hard to go through. And I really couldn't get any momentum going forward. I couldn't bear the day without using drugs and alcohol to kill the pain of being separated from my kids. So I finally got sober, which was excruciatingly painful. And that's when I started writing in these books. So another thing that comes out in these is self inquiry, which is an ancient practice of asking yourself questions. Why am I like this? Why do I keep acting like this? Why do I keep thinking these thoughts? Why do I keep going back to that person? Why do I keep relapsing? And then when you write down the answer, you question that as well. Well, because they did this, because they did that, because this is happening to me, because life is hard. Why is it hard? Why is life so hard for me? Other people are succeeding. What are they doing different that I'm not doing? Just writing these things out on the page, you can get some clarity. The other thing, while I was separated from my kids, I could write them letters of love and forgiveness. And it felt like I was doing something because I really was helpless and hopeless and powerless over the situation. And a lot of people are in those situations on a daily basis. They're powerless over other people, places, situations, and the writing in the page helped me process, helped me let go, helped me heal. It helped me forgive myself when I noticed that I was very detrimental to how I was being and how resentful I was against other people. I realized that my words and my thoughts and what I write affect my mood for the day. And when you can grasp that, then you can start changing your thoughts, changing your words, and changing what you write. Then your mood changes. And when your mood changes, your vibration raises, your consciousness raises, your awareness raises, then your world starts to change because you are the master of your world. You are the creator of your reality. And that is what slowly came out in these pages. I was able to express myself in these pages like I couldn't do to anybody else. I could say whatever I want, whenever I want. I can have opinions or I can have no opinions. And I can recognize when I'm going down the wrong road and I can turn and pivot mindfully. This is a mindful practice. I want to say that as well. We a lot like I wrote in that first journal, we suffer a lot from mental time travel, going to the past and with regret, shame, guilt, life is unfair, or going to the future. It's never going to get better. So thinking about the future, like fear and anxiety comes from future thinking, and shame and guilt and remorse and grief come from the past. So if we can stay present in this present moment, writing is a now activity. It's now. It's I would just write like now, Now, and fill it in with bubble letters. Now, 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 now. I was hurting and I wanted to do anything I could to release that burden of heavy feelings. Today, I write mostly all positive things. Before I get into the positive writing, the cycles that we get into, I got into some relationships and they were toxic and they were giving me red line anxiety and heart palpitations. And I would write out what was going on in the relationship, what my part was in things, what their part was in things. And, you know, I would leave the relationship and then I would go back. And I would leave the relationship and then I would go back. And in writing the pages and writing the journal, I could go back and see, like, yeah, this is happening and that happened again. And this is happening and that happened again. And then use inquiry to investigate, why do I keep doing that? And then making the decision finally, I'm not doing that anymore, and then being able to sit with the feelings and then writing about my feelings. I feel lonely. I want to call them, but I know it's going to take me back down the same road, like those kind of things. Very helpful. I love writing in my journal. I also write on my computer as well. You can do it on your phone as well. I personally like to have a journal. You probably won't catch me without a journal. Everywhere I go. I went and climbed a mountain last weekend out in Colorado Springs. Guess what was in my backpack? My journal. Because I just love the ability to write down whatever I want and my thoughts. It's like my best friend that I take everywhere I go. This will help you raise consciousness, and this will help you break loops that you're in. It'll help you get your thoughts organized. Maybe you're trying to start a business, or maybe you want to move somewhere. This is the place to start it. This is where dreams and desires go from here onto the page, and then you can create goals and get some momentum going in your life. This is what I've done, and I hope that you can do it too. Thanks for tuning in.